Hello, this will be the last time that we're meeting for If We Were Giants. I just wanted to read the author's notes because they tell you a little bit about, why they created the story and what did they add in. And um, I know that a lot of you know that I'm a big Dave Matthews fan. So reading this book for me was just really exciting because I haven't seen him do a chapter book. And I really liked the message on it that doesn't really matter how little you are, like you can make a really big impact if you are, really passionate about something. So I'm just going to read the author's notes. The first one is going to be Dave Matthews, and then the other one is going to be the other author, who is Clete Barrett Smith. So here's Dave's. The story began to take shape while I was living in New Orleans. I found inspiration in the branches of the beautiful live oak trees that lined the streets and filled the parks. I've always loved being in the woods. As a kid, I spent days climbing trees and playing in the forest around my home in New York State. I pretended if I found secret communities of people I've never seen before by the outside world. I used to feel like the forest was watching me. Because of my parents, I grew up in different parts of the world, primarily in North America and Southern Africa. I think my love for nature came from all of that time that we spent enjoying the unspoiled wilderness and the hospitality of the people who lived there. I admire communities that manage to live in balance with nature. There are infinite lessons to be learned from these people. I marvel at other communities that can be found in the wilderness too. The complexities that have evolved are astounding. The bivouac, or army ants are a good example of a seemingly impossible adaptation for survival. The entire community, the queen, the eggs, the workers, and the soldiers, all live in a colony made entirely of their own living bodies. By linking their legs, they create a huge fortress to protect their population from harm. At a moment's notice, they can unlock their legs and move on. I imagine what it would be like if humans were able to be like those army ants. What if the small people of my childhood dreams could link arms and become bigger and stronger and safer? It was in New Orleans that I began to think up the characters in this story and how they might triumph over adversity by working together. I told the story to my children. I told it to my friends. They all told me to write it down, my tale of the little people who became giants. The more I told, the more I felt my story was worth telling. That's when Clete came in. He was my vision come alive with convincing and distinctive characters. Out of my twigs and leaves, he constructed a fully realized world in which people can live in dormant volcanoes or villages or giant trees. He patiently listened to my ramblings and turned them into a project I am grateful to be a part of and proud to share with you. He is a beautiful storyteller. This book would simply not have been written if it were not for him. I hope this inspires you to dream too. Dave Matthews. And Clete Barrett Smith is he is living in Bellingham now, so he's a fairly local author. So when I was a kid, I would hike through the forests of the Pacific Northwest and make up fantastical stories. The most recurring idea from those walks was that there was an entire society hidden in the upper boughs of the trees. I was fascinated by the possibility. How did the community get there, and why? What did the inhabitants look like? How did their secret village operate? I spent hours scanning the treetops, trying to catch a glimpse of them. I never wrote that story, but I happened to mention the idea one day while I was having lunch with my wonderful editor, Stephanie Laurie. Imagine the thrill when she called me years later and invited me to collaborate with a storyteller who had a project that included part of this premise. Imagine my further thrill when that person turned out to be Dave Matthews. Finally, I would get to dive into this idea that had long fascinated me. And then, over dinner with Dave, I learned that his vision also included an epic tale about love and loss, betrayal and redemption, and what it means to live in a true community with others, including all of the accompanying struggles and joys. It felt like not only a fun story, but also an important one. I was all in. Dave was collaborative and creative and kind on every step of his journey. I remained awed by his passion for imaginative projects. So many people around the world have enjoyed the creativity he has to offer. I'm excited for them to get to experience his story and so grateful to have been part of it. So, we're done. And I am still thinking about, I might read some some picture books for read alouds next week. I have a bunch that I chose. Or maybe I will start a different book. Not sure yet. So I will hopefully see you this week for some of our lessons that I'm teaching, or just a bunch of the meetings that I have. And I will see you later.